Welcome back. Now, Met Officer PC Jonathan Broadhead has been cleared of gross misconduct after tasering a 10-year-old girl who threatened her mother with garden shears. Here's the dramatic footage showing how police pursued the girl through her house before opening up.
Hello.
Yeah.
Put it down now. Put him down now.
Put him
down now. Please don't do the taser. Take the taser. Right, put your taser in your body. Do not. Stay down. Stay down. Put your arms out. Put your arms out now. Out on top of your head. Right. Stand up. Face that wall.
Great. Right, well, Commander John Saville defended PC Broadhead's use of the taser in this circumstance, saying tasers provide officers with the ability to de-escalate situations and protect others from harm. Giving evidence on Tuesday, the Met officer said this: "I was worried that her intentions were with the shears. Taser was the best option I had." Wow, Anne, can the police be trusted with tasers? I mean, it does look a little bit egregious. Anne Widdecombe rejoins us, by the way. Welcome back to the fray. Anne, should police officers be using tasers against kids?
Yes, if the circumstances demand it. You've shown a very dramatic episode there. What you didn't show us was the equally dramatic fall from the mother, who was scared of the child, who'd already hit her with a hammer, who was waving shears of all things around, and who allegedly also was suspected of having drugs in her. Now, the police went into that situation. If they hadn't used tasers, if they tried to physically get the shears from her, and they were injured, then you and all these other people who are condemning the police would be full of sympathy and saying it's not fair that the police have to face these situations. They did what I believe was proportionate time, and that is why the officer has been cleared. Now, if he'd just gone in and started using it gratuitously, he wouldn't have been cleared.
No, it's interesting because you can argue very well, in fact it was argued successfully, that in that situation it's absolutely fine to use a taser against a child. Do you feel comfortable with all police officers walking around with tasers?
Well, yes, I do. I would prefer them to be using tasers than guns. And I think that they do need, they need protection against criminals. They need protection. And if they have no other choice, I'd much rather they use a taser than a gun. So, yes, I am perfectly happy with this. Are we going to back the police in the fight against crime? Or every time something difficult like this happens, are we going to turn against the police? Now, our decision.
Yeah, I mean, you can argue that's exactly what a taser is for, and the police have to be blind in that situation. If there is report that someone has hit someone with a hammer and they're currently waving garden shears around and they don't do exactly what you do, then get the taser out and crack on. But a convicted criminal was taken off a deportation flight, and different story this, but I think, yeah, equally good talking point. So he's taken off a deportation flight and back to his home country, so didn't go back to his home country, after rebel passengers refused to sit down on the plane. So the Jamaican crook was helped by a 26-year-old Mancunian called Hannah Gaffey. The former Home Secretary, Priti Patel, has criticised the Cambridge University-educated Brit, classic, saying anyone who deliberately stops the removal of a foreign national offender should face the courts for the taxpayers' funds their actions are consuming, for the wasted legal and court time that they are racking up, and for effectively standing by dangerous criminals who are a threat to the British public. What do you think here, Anne? I mean, if that was me, I'd be gutted I didn't get to go to Jamaica.
Well, I mean, as last time this happened, of course, when passengers thwarted a deportation, it turned out it was a rapist. And the poor victim had to endure the fact that he then stayed for years before the Home Office finally managed to deport him. And as far as I'm concerned, the instant that Hannah Gaffey refused to sit down, she should have been removed from the aircraft. Not the crook. She should have been removed from the aircraft. It would have been a big deterrent to other passengers. And I'm totally with Priti Patel. If you do that sort of thing, then you must face the courts. And she said she felt elated. I think, as I said in my Express column, very good column, by the way, every Wednesday, as I said in my Express column, I think she should be made to face the victims and tell them how elated she feels.
Yeah, no, indeed. This idea that you can get in the way and stop things without knowing what these people have done, for me, is arguably the most unintelligent approach to the kind of open borders, anti-deportation thing whatsoever. When you say to them, do you know whether or not that person has murdered or raped someone or is a terrorist? And if your answer to that is no, then maybe, just maybe, you have to assume that our security services are doing their job right. But I've just about got time, Anne, for something that broke not too long before we came on air, because the Dutch translator of Omid Scobie's book Endgame has sensationally revealed that the name of the two so-called royal racists were in the manuscript, despite the author insisting they never submitted a book with them in it. Meanwhile, the palace is reportedly considering legal action after Piers Morgan did make their identities public. Our channel won't be doing that, apparently. Anne, what's your views on that, then?
Look, it is utterly impossible that a manuscript was provided which had no names at all, and then the publishers put in two names. That is impossible. That did not happen. I don't believe that happened. So I think that the names were there. I think quite likely it was an earlier draft, and maybe Omid Scobie did not intend that they should be made public. But there's no way. They weren't there at all.
I just wonder, Anne, if Piers has fallen into a little bit of a trap here, you know, and that they wanted him to end up blowing his top like that and maybe facing some consequences. What do you think?
Well, I think certainly, he's put the names into the public domain, which he should not have done. Interestingly, Tom Bower, in his book, named the supposedly royal racist, and it wasn't either of them. So we've now got three characters in the frame. I think the situation is that there was just very innocent conversation going on. You ask what colour a child's hair might be. And, I know people in mixed marriages who've had such conversations. I think it was all innocent. I think Omid Scobie is a nasty, vengeful type.
Right, strong stuff, Anne. Thank you very, very much, as ever. You take care. That is Anne Widdecombe, their former Conservative minister.